This is Zengence, Take Aim with Every Breath, a different take on the rhythm shooter fitness genre, as you must not only shoot enemies and dodge their attacks, but hum to reveal your hidden adversaries. This released May 2nd, 2024 for the Quest 2 and 3 headsets for $20 US, and for this review, we checked out the game on the Quest 3. It's one part pistol whip and one part meditation app, so let's see if that combination can work in VR. Hello VR fanatics, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it as that really helps us out, subscribe to stay up to date on our content, leave a comment, and don't forget to check out the Virtual Boys podcast, which airs live Thursdays at 9 PM Eastern Time on this channel, or can be found on your pod app of choice. I'm Ryan for the VR Grid, now let's do this. So, Pistol Whip was a huge deal when it first dropped, and is still hailed as one of the must-play VR games regardless of the headset, and it's a little surprising to me that we haven't seen many clones of that lauded title. Zengence, at its core, really does feel like Pistol Whip, but changes up enough mechanics to not make it feel like a cheap knockoff. It's still on the rails, though in here you are traveling through more abstract and surreal environments. There's not much story to worry about, in fact nearly none at all, with your singular goal being to vanquish the wraiths threatening your world. The first 10 stages in arcade mode only allow you one weapon, with each stage utilizing one weapon type, which can range from a single shot blaster, grenade launcher, shotgun, bounce shot, and so on, though these aren't actual guns, but rather different floating shapes surrounding your forearms. Problem here is that some weapons are much harder to use than others, specifically the grenade launcher, and whenever those stages popped up, I struggled to hit my targets to a point of frustration. Stages 10 and on let you dual wield with either the same weapons on each hand or some mix and match levels, though once again, you can't pick these, they are preset, and every few levels will irritate with those more challenging loadouts. Initially the game is fairly chill, and behaves very much like a relaxed version of Pistol Whip, save for the main mechanic of audibly breathing, i.e. humming. The wraiths in every stage are hidden from sight, though you have an orb floating in front of you that can reveal them. This orb is activated by humming, or by making any continuous loud noise, which sends it off to seek out these shadowy beings, and very much reminded me of Yondu's arrow from the Guardians of the Galaxy films. And for the record, I did try to whistle, and it did work, but whistling for long periods proved to be more challenging than it was worth. Once revealed, you'll see where these figures will spawn thanks to some black, smoke-like shapes that shimmer in the environment. This mechanic is designed around breathwork, as your orb will only fly out for so long before flying back to you and needing a quick recharge, and in that time humming is useless, so it's here where you'll need to take a breath, and it's that mechanic alone that establishes a sort of rhythm. When enemies spawn, they could be stationary or run to a set position before attacking, and come in enough forms to keep me on my toes, with the various attacks having to be dodged or shot down before they hurt you. To get the highest score and or unlock the next stage, you need to not only reveal all the enemies in the stage, but destroy them while not taking a single hit. I came close to perfection on a few first run goes, but never got the gold on my first try, as the later moments in the stage become quite hectic, forcing me to not only dodge and shoot constantly, but remember to hum to ensure I didn't miss seeing my targets. Unfortunately, the 30 stages in the game are just remixes of the same 10 levels, just with new enemy placements and weapons, which, despite the increase in challenge, does make for a more repetitious experience than other games of this ilk. This is also somewhat hampered by the humming breathing mechanic, as I found I enjoyed it just as much as it annoyed me. I know the point is to find a sort of flow state where dodging, shooting, and humming are used seamlessly, but on more than a few occasions, I forgot to hum for a few seconds, or was so busy dodging and shooting at the enemies surrounding me that it was just easier to hum as long as I could and not worry about whether the orb was ready or not. I appreciate what the devs were trying to go for, as it's a unique layer to the game, but it can get in the way of the experience at times, and had me questioning if there wasn't a better way to utilize this mechanic. Beyond the 30 arcade stages is a Zen garden mode where you can just breathe and hum, and include some additional imagery like leaves flowing to your breaths and a large circle in the distance that grows and shrinks to help keep your breathing at a steady pace. For those that care, I suppose this is an alright way to chill out, and the more you do this, the more pearls you earn, which allow you to take a free hit in arcade mode, though those can only be used once per run, so there is an extra reason to do this daily beyond just meditation. There's also a daily challenge map, which remixes a stage with new enemy placement and weapon loadouts, with an attached online leaderboard, just like the arcade levels, for a little extra motivation should you want to prove yourself better than everyone else, but once again, this is basically more of the same thing. I mentioned that on a few occasions I forgot to hum, and that's because of two main reasons. First of which is the abstract art style that does look impressive in the headset, and once again, borrows from games like Pistol Whip in that everything in here is simple geometric shapes stitched together to create everything around you. The levels have you slowly traveling in a straight line, so they are mostly narrow with cliff sides or buildings masking the endless void in the distance, but it's that design and the art style chosen that lets you see as far as your eyes will let you. Some stages feel quite grounded in their design, while others have you floating above and through larger abstract creations, and had me wishing for a Zen mode where I could just float through each stage and not worry about the gameplay. Though I guess you could just not hum and enemies would never pop up, so I guess that's the Zen mode, so never mind. It's a shame then that there are only 10 levels in here, as I found each to look great, but after seeing them a few times, they did lose their lasting appeal. Overall, I really enjoyed the visual presentation. I just wish there was more to take in and keep me coming back to the game, so hopefully this sees some additional content in the future. The second reason why I forgot to hum is that I really love the licensed soundtrack, as it not only contains one of my favorite artists, Closey, but other similar ambient and worldly electronic artists that complement the gameplay amazingly well. Thing is, I'm humming over all these tunes, and whether I had headphones on or used the built-in speakers, I was drowning out the kick-ass soundtrack. This is the main reason why I think an option to not hum should possibly be included, even if that nullifies the online rankings, as the music really is a large part of the total experience here. Sadly, with only 10 levels as a 10-track soundtrack, and despite my love for it, there isn't enough here to keep me from having everything start to feel samey well before I finished all 30 stages. I did enjoy the spatial audio, as it is immersive when you can not only see but hear projectiles cruise past your head, but once again, as I was humming half the time, I was drowning out most of these effects as well. I enjoyed Zengence and waffled back and forth on how I felt about all the mechanics, as sometimes it was genuine fun to be shooting, dodging and humming while watching my orb fly ahead of me, zipping around the stage to reveal wraiths. On the flip side was a game that got in the way of itself thanks to that humming mechanic and the very limited selection of both stages and songs. I know Zengence is a relatively cheap title, and having top quality licensed acts does elevate it somewhat, but unless the meditation aspects appeal to you, and you don't mind playing through the same few stages multiple times, I still find it to be a bit of a tough sell at the current price. Humming aside, if more tracks and stages were added, this could be a little VR gem, but at release, I feel like it needs more variety in its content and some way to play without having to crash test dummy my way through the entire game. Give yourself 10 internet points if you get that reference. I'm going to give Zengence, Take Aim with Every Breath, a 6.5 out of 10. The soundtrack and stage designs are the reason to nab this, but the Zen aspects do get in the way of the fun. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to do all the YouTube things to help us out. And that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching.